This tutorial is sponsored by Patreon. Thank you all for your support. Hello everyone. So in this episode we're going to be covering integers. In the last episode we covered float, and we said that float is used for something to be precise about when we need the decimal numbers, but integer is used when we need full number. So good example of integer would be like if you want to get an index of something, like item index when you create the inventory system, or something that is just full. So for example, let's create another integer. I'm gonna duplicate this and call it house integer. So we can have one house, two house, we cannot have 1.5 house. So yeah, it's like full number. We have a house and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Integer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And also goes into minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. Okay, so here I prepared, we have an integer of type 32. That's basically the smaller integer and takes less memory. But also we have integer 64. This integer would probably be used for some simulation games where you want to have insanely big numbers, so the game is longer, right? But in game development as such, when we create 3D games and something similar to that, in like 90% of the games you won't need this because this number is really huge. So yeah, this integer also does the job, but this is for the insanely huge numbers. And I'm talking more than billions and millions. Okay, so we can delete that because we won't need it, but it's good to know what it does. So we have integer. We can add it, we can subtract, we can divide, and we can multiply. So it works as you would think. We get house. Let me just grab from here this node, and we're gonna use it to print string. Actually, we're gonna create custom event for that. Yeah, like this, print integer. Okay, so let's try add. So we will just go add or type plus symbol, and let's add 2, and that's gonna be our house. So we can set house here. And this will be print string, like that. Okay, so now if we press play and we press 1, we're gonna get 2, 4, 6. So we are basically adding our integer, as you can see, by 2. So pretty straightforward. We can go to next one. We can also do minus, which does the same. So if we want to say minus, don't add minus here. So don't do this because it's gonna be plus. Minus and minus give plus. So first we're gonna, let's say we have 10 houses, right? Let me get my details tab here real quick. So we have 10 houses. Every time I press 1, I'm gonna remove 2. So minus 2, minus 2, minus 2, and we are left with 0, and we can go into minus. Later on we're gonna cover how we can stop our number from going to minus, but that's for later. Now we can divide house. We can divide it. For example, I can divide it with 2. If I have 10 houses, I divide it by 2, I'm gonna get 5, right? So if I press 1, I get 5. And now I will divide it again with 5. I will divide 5 with 2 again. Actually, 5 with 2, and I would get a full number. So yeah, that's divide. We can also multiply. It's also pretty straightforward. If we put 2 and we multiply it with 10, we're gonna get 20, then 40, 80, and so on. So multiply does this job. Okay, so when we covered this, we can go ahead and cover this one. So let's say we have random integer here. So we can randomize it. So random integer in range and random integer is not same. Basically, random integer in range gives you minimum and maximum variable, and the random integer just gives you max. So it's pretty more free. So yeah, we can test that by setting maximum to be 100 and return value into set house. Now when we press 1, we are getting pretty random numbers, as you can see. And these all numbers are basically positive. But this one is more used. This one is pretty useful node. So let's say minimum is -10 and maximum is going to be 100. If press 1 now, as you can see, we're gonna get some minuses, but it's going to be from -10 to 100. Or to make it easier, from -2. So minimum is going to be 2. Sorry, minimum is going to be -2 and maximum 2. And now we're gonna get everything from -2 to 2. Nothing else. So we are getting only things in range here. So random integer in range, pretty self-explanatory, like all other nodes in Unreal Engine. They really make they make us easy time going through them, because the naming is so good that you can understand it. So the last thing that I want to cover in the integer is if we have a houses, and this is the value is 10. But minimum, we want to minimum will be 0 houses. We cannot have negative houses, right? We can only have 0. And max is going to be 20 houses. And it's going to be return value into houses. So here I'm gonna add, like, let's say 5 houses. And we already have 10. So no matter how much I press 1 to add 5, it's gonna stop me at 20. And you will see right now. So I have 15 houses now, because I added 5. Now I have 20, and if I press, I'm gonna be stuck on 20, because that's our maximum value. We cannot go over it. Same goes for the minus, right? So if I minus it, and let's say I minus 5 here, I have 10 houses. First I'm gonna have 5, then I'm gonna have 0, and then I cannot go into minus, as you can see. This is very useful when you want to branch something. For example, we want to create a branch, and we need equal. We need this value to be equal to 0. Let's set 5 houses. So logically now, if we minus 5, if we even minus 10, we're still going to be at 0, and we're going to run this correctly. From the true, it's going to be number is equal. And from the false, it's going to be number is not equal. If we have a clump here, it's going to be equal, because even if I minus 10 it, and I have 5 houses, so I have 5 houses, and I minus 10, it's going to be 0, because I clumped. But what happens if we remove the clump? Well, we are going to get minus 5, and you will see now. So we have 5 houses minus 10, that is minus 5 because we don't have clump, and number is not equal. So this node is not going to get run. It's not true, it's not equal. So that's sometimes we use this clump to make sure our number is going to be minimum and maximum one that we desired. So as you can see now, it works perfect. So that's it for the integers. I hope you understand it. If you don't, you can always leave a comment and I'll try to answer each of them. So guys, thank you for watching and see you in the next episode.